So I like these AEW residencies they're about to do. They're going to do one in Chicago, they're doing one in Philadelphia. I just kind of like the idea they're just going to roll up to an arena for a while and chill out and play Nintendo, especially because the big criticism seems to be, well, this isn't very good when it comes to money. I don't know about you, but when I watch my wrestling, I'm not like, what's the financial situation? I just want to enjoy my pro wrestling show. Also, hello my friends, I am Simon the Bald Idiot, and this is the only wrestling review show you need, because we're going to be positive Pete's, but that doesn't mean we don't give some downs sometimes, which do mean not very good, and we also give ups, which means super good. That was the world's worst intro, but you've done it now, you are here, let's up those downs. So our first match was a brand new tag team, Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay, taking on an also kind of new tag team, Josh Alexander and Takeshita, but they've been together for longer, so they're the real team. That is all my point here too, but let's get it straight before we do go on. This match absolutely ruled, and every now and then, I just think we need to take a step back and be like, this is the standard of a match we are just getting on free wrestling TV. If you were watching back in the 80s and somebody had put this on, you would have thought aliens had come to the planet, because nobody would have been able to believe it. Deep down in my tum-tum though, I kind of just think that Will and Paige, or WAP, should have lost. I don't know. And I think it just mostly comes down to the fact they do have their big pay-per-view match. Even on commentary, Taz was saying, well, you know, they are brand newly formed, whereas Josh and Takeshita have proved they have chemistry. Maybe we need to get down to some science. Anyway, we'll talk about that in just 1 second. And Ospreay and Takeshita just went at 100 miles per hour here, and then Josh Alexander came in and he did the same. And then Hangman was like, I'm going to upset the apple cart by doing a bunch of moonsaults. We're only like 4 minutes in. I was like, I'm going to have the best time. Adam also followed with a bomb of power when he thought about tagging Will Ospreay in. And he was like, well, no, I don't really like this guy. I don't know what to do. Or maybe he just didn't want his skin touched. We've all been there. Some days you wake up and you just feel a little bit oogly boogly. Eventually he decided yes, and we got this shooting star press lariat combo, which was pretty good. But I think Josh Alexander and Takeshita were offended by that, because they grabbed Ospreay and they hurled him to the outside. They then focused on the cowboy. When Alexander made the worst error, he started slapping Hangman Adam Page. I was like, bro, we know this guy's unhinged. He went totally crazy, hot tag to Will. You know the deal with Will Ospreay. He may have one of the best hot tags in the game. After a sky twister press, Hangman Adam Page had taken his med pack too, so he started booing people when they two looked at each other, because now it's super serious. Now, actually, I think what they were doing with their eyes was realizing it was 2025, so they went and hit all the dives. We then got the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb, and did it work? Of course it didn't. It never does. When Adam tried to help, he shouldn't have done that, because Josh murked him. Or he gave him a German suplex, and then it was time for you go, I go, we all go. And just to look like Ospreay was going to hit the hidden blade, Hangman tagged himself in. They cannot coexist. Now that almost was a terrible idea, because I think Josh Alexander used his MP to cast confusion, because they almost clashed, but actually they didn't. So I guess Alexander didn't cast the spell well. So instead, they got rid of Takeshita, and they hit a buckshot lariat hidden blade combo, and they pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. Now, as finishers go, I don't think we can be mad at this. It was bloody good. They then locked eyes again, because deep down they do hate each other, which when the Don Callis family attacked. But in the scuffling, as Will Ospreay was throwing bones, he accidentally hit Paige, and then was like, oh no, I thought you were Josh Alexander. I was like, what do you care, dude? You told us last week that you hated Hangman Adam Page, and you're about to fight him at Double or Nothing. Still, though this was top draw wrestling, you have to give them all the credit in the world. And every now and then, I just like to take a step back and appreciate it. We are living in the good times up. But I am just stuck on this whole Takeshita and Josh Alexander being a proper team thingamajig. And also, Alexander has taken a lot of pins ever since he debuted. Now, it's hard because actually I can see where AEW is coming from here. If you had Will Ospreay take the pin, or you'd had Hangman Adam Page take the pin, because we're wrestling geeks, we'd have been like, ha ha ha, now we know the other guy is going to win at Double or Nothing. So it's really not bad at all, but again, when these things get in my geek brain, I can't get rid of it, so I am going to give it a down. This also, weirdly, ties into WrestleMania 41, because somebody said to me, Simon, did you not think it was a bit strange that Becky and Lyra beat Liv and Raquel, even though they were the more established duo? I was like, damn it, you're right. I do feel that way. I have said that many a time. So let's write the books. We are giving it a down, but no one ever needs to worry about this. Did it affect the show? No. It was a fine opening match. We then got a good video packages promoting our main event, and you want to do that build throughout the show, when Alicia and Tout was in Top Flight. I was not expecting that. Now, they were super duper mad at MJF and even promised to bite his nose off, which I would not do. And actually, that needs to go on the crime counter. When Darius and Dante were also like, we did want a tag team title shot last week, so we're going to go out there and get it. I was like, dudes, don't do this. Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara walked in, and they were like, well, we think that's a great idea. And I was like, I smell some coming together. Sounds terrible. When I was just so happy. Now, I don't get why people aren't enjoying this absolute madness of Zach Gowen being back on our television. I mean, him and Ricochet had fallen out on Collision, so now they were having a flubbing match. And I totally love it, mostly because we get wrestling all of the time. We are very lucky. And they said you can wake up any day of the week and there'll probably be a new program for you to just enjoy. So every now and then, I need something nuts, I need something crazy, I need something out of left field, and to get this kind of nostalgia with Zach Gowen, it's another reason I'm happy that AEW exists. Because other promotions aren't going to do this. There isn't the room, we open the door. You can't say he's not remembered either, because he's quite literally a one-legged wrestler. And when he came out here, everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's Zach Gowen, and he was with his family. Then Ricochet came out with the prosthetic leg he had stolen at the weekend. Once again, only in wrestling. Zach then basically aggressively crawled after Ricochet, who bailed, and he would do. It was quite scary when, yes, Zach kind of lead into the whole bald thing. Wasn't a massive fan of that, and neither was Ricochet. He threw him into barricade. The absolute highlight of all of this, though, is when Ricky got him back in the ring, and he tried to apply a figure four, then realized he wasn't able to do this, because the man only had one leg. So he went to the corner, he thought about it, apparently came up with a plan, realized that plan wasn't going to work, when Zach Gowen hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Now, I only got a 1-2 ooh, but I tell you, my friends, if that had gone the 3, it would have been the best finish of all time. Ricochet then kind of crotched himself, which was a terrible move, but was still able to come back with the 450. But this time, Zach Gowen kicked out. He even kicked out of the Vertigo, so we were giving him a lot here. When Ricochet's brain said to him, well, I'll tell you what our next move is. Let's go and get some scissors. Now, thankfully, the referee was like, listen, I've checked my rule book, and I'm sorry, not only are you not allowed to do that in wrestling, you're not allowed to do that in life. It led to another great false finish, because Zach Gowen then got that leg too, and he waffled Ricochet, but it wasn't to be. He missed the moonsault. Ricochet got the spirit gun, 1, 2, 3. And I said out loud, because I'm a freak of a man, I've just been sports entertained. Ricochet obviously continued to ruin this guy until Mark Briscoe made the save. So listen, I am never going to have any kind of a problem with this. And actually, if any kind of company wants to do it more, this bald idiot will be right behind you. I'm giving it an up. I thought it was lovely. Renee Paquette was then talking to MJF. I mean, it is his big night. Now, he feels confident that he is going to be accepted into the Hurt Syndicate, and this is great for him, because he was champion for 401 days, whatever the flub it was. So now, along with their help, he is going to climb back up to the top of the mountain. Renee then made a good point, because she was like, yeah, but bro, what if they do say no? This was so good, because that kind of hit Max like a ton of bricks when a magical hand appeared on his shoulder, and it was MVP, who was like the sword of Damocles, so he was like, man, it's time to go to the ring. I'm not surprised that MJF freaked out here. Every bit of energy coming from him was, we're going to kill you. Before that though, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin had to take on Top Flight. And I wouldn't say it was a squash match, but I would say it was pretty darn close. Now, Darius and Dante were able to take out Shelton early on. When they dove onto Bobby Lashley, when that didn't work, the other guy came in, and can you believe it, they knocked him down. That just pissed off Bob though, so when they tried it again, he threw them around the ring something fierce. He also made sure they went into the ring post, so Shelton was like, oh, I can do that. So he used Barricade. That's why I'm wearing my Wrestling Friends t-shirt today, Pro Wrestling Tees. People need to be nicer to them. Darius was able to kick out, and he got the hot tag to Dante, although you wouldn't really call it a tag or a hot tag. He got kneed in the face, and he got speared, then there were super kicks, and everyone came smashing together, and the match was over. Everybody else was dead. Now, I'm not sure how we're going to rehab them from this point, but I guess something will happen to Ring of Honor, because after this, the Hurt Syndicate started to hurt when out came Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. They definitely weren't doing this. Now, Rhodes wanted them to stop because this was not fitting of a professional wrestler, and MVP was like, listen, I could send my boys to come and end you, but I won't because I respected your dad. Now, I still felt like some kind of chaos was coming, and that was true because all of a sudden here was Action Andretti and Leo Rush. Now, Action's big thing was to call Dustin Rhodes Gramps about 422 times, whereas Leo Rush wanted to remind Bobby Lashley of their past, and that's a great reason to give them a title shot. I was like, Leo, you are talking about the WWE run when you made Bobby Lashley flat us all the time. I do not want to live in a world where that gets you a title shot. And then laughed out loud because they followed this by saying, no disrespect. after they called Dustin Rhodes a grandpa a lot of times and said to Sammy Guevara, we're going to beat you up so bad and send you home to your daughter. But no disrespect, man. No disrespect. Dustin then got all professional because he was like, excuse me, my dear chaps, nobody's allowed to jump the line. When MVP was like, dude, I'm bored of this. You're all going to fight on Collision and the winner can get us at the pay-per-view. Who knew that MVP was now the general manager? Now I'm going to throw a quick down in there because we just need to do more with these tag team titles. Like, I love the Syndicate, love them. But if you keep doing matches this fast, nobody is going to believe that anybody else can win. The Hurt Syndicate are too good. And that got a little bit odd because MVP said, MJF, you got to come to the ring. But he didn't. So Shelton Benjamin went to the back to get him when Tony Khan snitched him out instantly. So he's behind the table. And yeah, Maxwell Jacob Friedman was quite literally hiding. The other best part was Jerry Lynn's face, who was also in the production truck. He was like, this guy. Benjamin dragged him to the ring when we did our big old ceremony, and of course MVP gave him a thumbs up. Shelton Benjamin gave him a thumbs up when Bobby Lashley went and hugged him. Now this was so damn good, because as he was wiggling his finger around, Shelton Benjamin was behind ready to hit the super kick. So he essentially sold this like, well, we don't know what Bob is gonna do, but he is our friend. If he says no, we'll have to break MJF in two. Lashley then used the power of the tease for around about 200 minutes, but he did say, you know what, you can have an up. I was like, wait a minute, they've completely stolen my gimmick. Max didn't care about that at all though, because he jumped into Bobby Lashley's arms, he pushed him away, and he was jumping on the ropes going, we hurt people. I cannot tell a lie. It was actually quite a lovely moment. We then learned though that Maxwell is most definitely screwed, because MVP was like, oh, well, this is wonderful, and do not forget the official welcoming ceremony is next week. Like a wrestling wedding, it's not going to go well. Excalibur was really great here too because he was like, why is he celebrating as if he just won the world title? Well, in MJF's mind, that is what's going to happen. Although I bet in 7 days when this does go down, we likely get the debut of Cedric Alexander and it's bye-bye Mr. Friedman. Now that's going to be an interesting twist because it kind of makes MJF a good guy again. But if that's what the fans want to do, that's what we should do. But either way, it's such a good story. It's so well paced. The timing has been right spot on. I am most definitely giving it an up. It's really, really good. It also must be hell for the community of, well, AEW doesn't tell any stories, because they are telling a story. I tell you, All Elite Wrestling mugged me right off. Because it was the classic tale of if you tell one joke and it's funny, and then you tell it over and over and over again, it kind of dips down when it becomes funny again. Because, yep, these Tony Storm 4-ways, they've won me over. Because I thought, and I still do on one level, that essentially having a bunch of number one contender matches when you're also running a tournament to crown number one contender didn't really make any sense. Like if I was in the tournament, I'd be like, why am I busting my ass when I could have just gone and asked someone? Well, yes, that is all true, but tonight, Toni Storm was involved in another one, and she just comes across like such a badass, as if to say, I don't care, I'll take on anyone, and you know what, I'll win every single time. So here, it just hit me, this was a good idea, and that's why nobody should listen to me. She was also facing a barrage of new and returning wrestlers. So we had Mina Shirakawa, we had AZM, who just did win a New Japan Strong title, and we had Sky Blue. We all know her story. My gosh, did she fight back to get here? It's inspiring stuff. Bless Tony Khan as well, because when Mina came out, she had this brand new theme. The internet totally melted down. He saw this in real time, meaning afterwards, she had her old theme. I'm sorry, that is the stuff we need more in wrestling. That has a couple of thumbs. I shouldn't have done that. Tony Khan is now in the Hurt Syndicate. Shirakawa and AZM then teed off, as did Sky Blue and Toni Storm. When Mina started to pose, I was like, man, she has been away for a while. She's forgotten. It didn't mean that she almost lost the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, but thankfully for her, only got a 1-2-0. Sky then got a tilt-a-whirl, which I guess panicked Toni Storm, so her and Mina made sure to trip Sky Blue and AZM when they got in each other's faces too, and you are going to have to do that eventually because it is a four-way, and we were reminded about their past. I'm always a big fan of that. AZM though then booted Mina right in the face when Toni Storm ended up in a figure four. This was a lot different to the last one that we saw, mostly because she was able to do it. It was never going to end like that though, and I think somebody had also whispered to AZM, it's 2025, so she did a dive, and that's for Sky Blue. Well, she did the big old one, she's back. Of course, we cut to a commercial after that, and when we came back, Mina and Sky Blue were just smacking everyone, so they too could now engage in a fight. But after there were some German suplexes, Toni Storm did the maths. She was like, I can sweet cheek music you, I can sweet cheek music you, and I can sweet cheek music you. So she did it all. Shirakawa then thought she could score with a glamorous driver, but Toni cut that off because obviously she wasn't interested. When we got all the finishes and Sky Blue hit her code blue, that was a pretty good 1-2-0. Listen, that rhymed like crazy, so it must be true. Tony also went for Storm Zero, but Mina wasn't interested in that, which was perfectly fine for Storm, because she was like, well, my backup is the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, but Shirakawa, she hadn't forgotten, she is somewhat of a veteran, she reversed it, she hit her own surprise roll-up, and you will not believe this, she got the 1, 2, 3, and I popped, which was really weird because I watched these things by myself. I just did not see it coming. And I thought if Toni Storm was going to lose in a four-way, she wouldn't actually be beaten, but she did. The Double or Nothing graphic was ready too, so now we have our title match. This is when Mercedes Moné came out, and she really wanted to kick ass, especially because AZM was involved. She had taken her New Japan title. Jamie Hayter, of course, is now Scooby-Doo Batman, as she was watching on from the back, so she ran out, and not only did she kick Mercedes' ass, because of course they're fighting the pay-per-view, but she locked her in the statement maker, and she made her own statement. I shouldn't have done that. So this really was a well put together match and a really good post segment too. I mean, we got a bunch of people over, and we established a bunch of matches, and we introduced some new characters. I mean, that's good eating. And listen, yes, before people get it twisted, I was only joking about Jamie Hayter's new look. I do not understand why people have a problem with it. The whole point of wrestling is to stand out, and to be unique, and to be yourself. Man, I tell ya, I think it's a home run. I'm taking all of this, let's gang it up. When Taz won the night, because he led the tribute to Sabu, and honestly, who could do it better than that guy? And I'm not going to try and recount this because I could not do it justice, but I tell you, if you do watch this and you don't have a tear in your eye at the end of it, well, I don't think you listened. So it was truly wonderful, and as ever, positive thoughts to his friends and family. And what have we learned, or at least been reminded of, over the last week or so? Sabu was absolutely a game changer, and thanks to him, wrestling will never be the same again. We then got another twist in the whole Hurt Syndicate situation, because MJF was in the back doing a bit of a dance with MVP, when he said, well, I need my lawyer to look over this, when in walked Mark Sterling. He wanted to shake MVP's hand, who used his cane to lower it. I mean, that's just a strange thing to do. MVP didn't like the fact that this is what Max was doing too, when he said, but dude, you would never sign a contract without it being kosher, without your lawyer looking it over first. And look, MVP pretended he understood. He doesn't, my friends, and MJF is about to die. When Nigel McGuinness apologized to Tony Schiavone. Why not? This was because on Collision he got all wrapped up in the FTR feud and got in the ring, and he had told Tone the whole time we shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't have done it either. I know I used to be a wrestler, but today I'm a commentator, and commentators shouldn't do this. He then wanted to apologize to Daniel Garcia, and thankfully Dan had decided I'm going to stand right by the entranceway, just in case somebody does say my name. And I guess he was right, he lucked out. Now this all made sense as well because McGuinness's Shenanigans, which is not the name of my new EP, had cost Danny Garcia the match at Collision. So he was like, listen, I cost you the winner's purse, I am so sorry. Garcia was like, you ain't apologizing to me, or at least I'm not accepting it. FDR are a couple of assholes, and I think we should fight them. Stokely Hathaway then walked out because of course he now represents FDR. I'm so happy he's back on TV. At first he was like, yeah, what are you doing, Nigel McGuinness? Nobody wanted this. You also hurt my tag team, which is why they're not there this evening. So after we did some consulting, we have figured out there must be consequences. So listen, you will team up with Danny Garcia to take on FTR. First, like, wait a minute, that's not a punishment. That's exactly what Nigel wants. That's like somebody walking in here right now and saying, Simon, we've got this wig that is going to look like it actually does fit your head. But either way, I can't lose. Hathaway had a great spin too, because he was like, listen to me, Mr. McGuinness, the reason we do want this is because then we can beat you up legally. And Nigel is so damn good. It's like, look, dude, FTR are one of the best teams ever, and me and Dan have barely had a conversation. Garcia, of course, was down because they both had to overcome the odds in their careers. When Stokes was like, listen, Nigel McGuinness, you are the Al Bundy of AEW, and you could barely get over hepatitis. Sheesh. Of course, Cash and Dax had totally lied they were here, and they jumped in the ring and started crushing these fools, and they were going to give them a spike pile driver when out came Daddy Magic to make the save. Now, at first, I didn't see he had a crowbar, as if he was the dude from Half-Life 2. At first, I just thought they were running away from Daddy Magic. I mean, why not? And yes, I know his name's Gordon Freeman before people go, I can't believe you called the dude from Half-Life 2 or Half-Life, both of them. I was just joking around. But now I do suppose at the pay-per-view, it is going to be Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness taking on FTR. And I've searched my feelings. You know what? This ties into what we said a few minutes ago. It's the kind of nonsense I want to embrace. I'm giving it an up. When we got to our main event, Steel Cage World title, John Moxley and Samoa Joe, it felt like a big deal. It really was super intriguing as well because Samoa Joe wasn't going to win, but it is Samoa Joe, so he makes you believe. And as for Jon Moxley, while he would get the victory, you kind of sat there and pondered, well, how he gonna do it? There's gonna be shenanigans. Samoa Joe used the cage instantly as well. He was just popping Moxley around, who then went after the leg, because he was like, if I hurt Samoa Joe like that, he can't walk, he can't fight, and later on he won't be able to go get some ice cream. That would make me sad too. We then got another figure four. I was like, why is there so many figure four on these shows? Although I suppose one was a figure two, so we don't have to talk about that. Well, yes, there was so much destruction, Jon Moxley started to bleed. Problem is, we know that Jon Moxley loved this, so I actually thought he was having a good time. Jon then decided to bite Joe, I guess because he was worried about the future, and this is when all the extras started to get involved a little bit. I mean, we had the Death Riders, we had Willow Nightingale, and we had Powerhouse Hobbs. When you do take a step back and think about it, it would make less sense if they weren't there. They've all been involved. Joe then got the Atomic and Manhattan drop because he's just the best. When Taz summed up Jon Moxley's face permanently, it was like, dude, I'm a bit worried. It looks like he's been shot. Joe then locked in the crossface, I guess because he wanted Moxley to bleed more. But when he went for the muscle buster, you already know what Jon did. He bit him. Now this made me chuckle too, because there had been a few times people had got to the ropes in this, and it caused a rope break, but you can bite someone. That is the rules of the steel cage. Wrestling never change. No, it worked because Jon was able to get on the choke as Samoa Joe started to fade like he was in Infinity War. When we did the 3-hand drop, and of course on the third one, Samoa had taken his med pack and he was back. I really appreciate AEW doing the old stuff. When Moxie realized his plan wasn't working though, he spiked Samoa Joe with the paradigm shift. You know the deal, 1-2-0. It actually ended with Moxie in the Coquina clutch, so Claudio Castagnoli just started scrambling up the cage. But it was Wheeler that was like, nope, you're not doing that. When Powerhouse Hobbs decided, oh look, Wheeler Yuta is there, they threw him through a table. Sadly for Joe though, at this point he was a professional wrestler in a professional wrestling ring, as other professional wrestlers did things on the outside, so he kind of totally forgot he was in a wrestling match when a hooded gentleman ran to the ring. My big question with modern day wrestling is why are you so obsessed with hooded gentlemen and women? Also, aside from the usual surprise, it's me, we didn't need this because there are no DQs in a cage match, but listen, this person slid the briefcase to Jon Moxley, he smacked Samoa Joe, don't know who that is, Samoa Joe right in the head, and he pinned him for the 1-2-3, and then everyone was like, oh my gosh, because this person was Repo Man. Was it Repo Man? Of course it wasn't, it was Gabe Kidd from New Japan. Now Powerhouse Hobbs was so pissed he went to murder this guy. I was like, dude, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be embarrassed. You had one job. Castagnoli also attacked him with a chair, but William Node sold that. When Gabe Kidd punched him right in the penis, Claudio loved that, and they threw him into Simba the Steel Steps. Marina also dealt with Willow Nightingale here. When the Young Bucks walked out, this was like, right, let me do some maths. Apart from Jon Moxley and Samoa Joe, how many people have been involved so far? It was flipping 8. Well, the Young Bucks just wanted to celebrate because I guess they were so happy with the outcome, and there was a bit of a wink, nudge last week that they were going to get someone from New Japan, and look, the Death Riders were totally cool with Gabe Kidd, so we laid it down. I guess you could also say maybe this is tying into the eventual comeback of Eddie Kingston for obvious reasons, when we got extra competitor number 9, because Kenny Omega walked out. Now, he flubbed up a load of people when Okada was also here, so it goes up to 10, and he punched Kenny Omega right in the tum-tum, because of course that's where he had surgery. I do not understand why people don't like brand new heel Okada. The happy look on his face, the man is a dream. The bad guys then started lowering the cage, I guess because they wanted to commit murder. When we got person number 11, which was Mike Bailey, now he stopped Okada getting in there, but he wasn't able to get in there either. So I guess it is going to be those two at Double or Nothing. You could sign me up for that. The Evil Team did take advantage of this, so he did need number 12 and number 13, which was Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. But this Swerve man, he's the coolest dude ever. He zoomed up that cage like it was nothing, and he stomped everyone. Like, damn it, Strickland, you are best. The bad guys then realized they were bones, so they all ran away as the cage did go up. And Swerve made a good point. Last time I was here, not only was I doing killing, but I was being killed. So that's how crazy I am. I have returned. So do you know what we should do? Given everything I have in my head, anarchy at the arena, big pop. Now this was so off the damn chart, I almost forgot that Samoa Joe had lost a match, but I do like the logic here. Blood and guts and a cage match are essentially the same thing, so why not go the other way and do anarchy in the arena? It was a proper old school ending too, fueled by chaos, so Dr. Robotnik would have liked it, and it did make me go, well now I do want to see a big warfare, hey ho, at the pay-per-view, so I'm giving it an up. And maybe it was too much for some, but it's absolutely what we used to do back in the day, and it justified all of it. That was the idea. Which brought us to the end of AEW Dynamite, and yes, I think they're cooking right now as we do lead up to Double or Nothing. And there are so many matches that do have jeopardy, especially that Hangman Adam Page Will Ospreay thing, which I am totally dialed in for. Given that John Moxley is going to be involved in Anarchy in the Arena as well, I guess that could be the main event. Or the finals of the Owen, it's going to make that more important. Plus Mercedes and Jamie Hayter. It's all good stuff. Let's get it up. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know how many mistakes I've made in this video. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my ups and downs on Monday Night Raw, to get all my daft opinions. But otherwise, know that I love you, and I will see you soon.